Alex Carter was the kind of person who dreamed big but lived small. He spent his days working at a dull office job, entering data into spreadsheets and pretending to be interested in office gossip. But in his heart, he was a storyteller, a dreamer, someone who wanted to create something that would last beyond his lifetime. Alex had always been a storyteller. As a child, he would create elaborate adventures for his action figures, narrating tales of heroism and discovery to his younger sister, Emily. Their parents, both hard-working individuals juggling multiple jobs, often left them alone in the evenings. Books became Alex's refuge. He devoured every story he could get his hands on. Fantasy, mystery, science fiction. They weren't just entertainment. They were escape, inspiration, and a glimpse into worlds far bigger than his own. His teachers recognized his talent early on. Mrs. Patterson, his 7th grade English teacher, had once told him, "You have a gift, Alex. Never stop writing." But dreams didn't always align with reality. His father, a practical man who valued stability above all, discouraged Alex from pursuing storytelling as anything more than a hobby. "Writers don't make money, son. You need a real job," he would say. By the time Alex reached adulthood, the dream had faded into the background, buried under responsibilities and expectations. Every night, after a long day of work, Alex would sit at his small desk in his cramped apartment and write. He wrote stories about heroes who overcame the odds, about dreamers who defied expectations. Yet he never had the courage to share them with the world. Fear of failure, fear of judgment. These were the chains that kept his dreams locked away. One evening, after another grueling day, he found himself at his favorite coffee shop, staring at the blank screen of his laptop. He had promised himself that this year would be different, that he would finally submit a story to a publisher. But as always, self-doubt whispered in his ear. "Excuse me, are you a writer?" A voice interrupted his thoughts. He looked up to see a woman, probably in her late 20s, with a bright, inquisitive smile. Kind of," Alex replied, feeling exposed. "Kind of? Either you are or you aren't," she challenged, sitting down across from him. "I'm Sarah, by the way." "Alex," he said, shaking her hand. "So, what do you write?" "Just stories. Nothing published or anything." "Yet," Sarah corrected. "Nothing published yet. Let me guess, you're afraid of rejection." Alex sighed, rubbing his temples. "That obvious?" Sarah nodded. "I used to be like that. I'm an artist, but for years I didn't show anyone my work. One day, my grandfather told me, 'If you never take the leap, you'll never know if you can fly.' That stuck with me. So I started putting my work out there. Was it scary? Absolutely. But was it worth it? More than I could ever imagine." Her words hit Alex like a lightning bolt. That night, he went home and for the first time hit send on a submission email. His heart pounded as he stared at the screen, half expecting the universe to explode. But nothing happened, except a strange feeling of relief. Weeks passed. Rejections came. Some were form letters, some had polite words of encouragement. Each sting was a little easier to bear. Then, one evening, an email arrived. "We loved your story and would like to publish it." Alex read the words over and over. The dream he had kept locked away for so long was finally stepping into the light. That was just the beginning. He kept writing, kept submitting, kept growing. And every time fear whispered, he remembered Sarah's words and his own courage. Because once you take the leap, you just might find you were always meant to fly. The first acceptance had ignited something in him. Instead of hesitating, Alex leaned into his writing. He dedicated more time to it, waking up earlier, sacrificing late-night television, and using his lunch breaks to brainstorm new ideas. The blog was slow at first, a handful of views, the occasional comment from a friend. But over time, something shifted. A post titled "The Fear That Almost Killed My Dream" went viral, shared by a well-known influencer in the writing community. Thousands of people read his words, and messages poured in from aspiring writers who resonated with his struggle. It was overwhelming, yet exhilarating. For the first time, Alex felt like his words truly mattered. With this newfound momentum, he set his sights on something bigger, a novel. He had toyed with the idea for years, but always convinced himself he wasn't ready. Now he realized that ready was just an illusion, an excuse to stay in the comfort zone. He outlined, wrote, scrapped entire chapters, and rewrote them. The process was grueling, testing his patience and resilience. But he pushed through. Sarah became a frequent presence in his life, checking in on his progress and offering encouragement. "You don't have to be perfect," she reminded him one day over coffee. "You just have to finish." After 8 months of relentless effort, the first draft was complete. It was messy, inconsistent, and far from publishable, but it was real. It existed outside of his mind, something tangible he could refine. Rejections still came, but he no longer feared them. Each no was just a step toward the inevitable yes. Then the day arrived. A reputable publisher saw potential in his novel. The offer came with a modest advance, but it wasn't about the money. It was about validation, proof that the dream he had once buried under fear was now his reality. Years later, standing on a stage at a major literary festival, Alex looked out at the sea of aspiring writers. He smiled, remembering the timid man who once doubted himself. "If you never take the leap," he told them, "you'll never know if you can fly." And as he spoke, he saw Sarah in the audience, nodding proudly. His journey had come full circle, but he knew this was only the beginning of an even greater story. If you never take the leap, you'll never know if you can fly. Like and subscribe to keep chasing your dreams.